Picture yourself right now, tucked safe and warm, ready to rest. You can close your eyes if you like. This night, we drift back, far, far back to the very first light in time. We will explore a sweet, strange idea, a hidden force that people felt all around them. Long ago, this force gave some leaders a special quiet authority. But then, a few of those leaders started to believe a beautiful, grand story, a power delusion, that they were not just friends of the gods, but gods themselves. We'll take a gentle journey to learn how this big idea started and why it made people feel safe. Relax your mind and let the old, gentle stories guide you to a sweet sleep. First light in deep caves. When the world was very young, people lived inside the quiet, cool earth, safe in deep caves. The only light came from a tiny fire or the slow sun at the opening. This deep, dark place felt like a big secret. In the back of the cave, people saw things move in the dancing shadows. They felt a big presence there, a warm, soft kind of power. This was the very first time they thought, maybe this big feeling is a kind of God. It was the start of a very old, deep wonder, a gentle history written on the rock walls, creating the first feelings of divine authority. The first marks people made were not words, but simple hand shapes painted high up. They put their hands right on the stone and blew red paint around them. This was like saying, I was here, and this place holds a magic force. They did not draw kings or castles. They just showed a link between their small hand and the big dark earth. This soft sign of feeling the unseen power is a special key. It helps us understand that the feeling of a divine link is older than any king, starting with just a small hand on cold stone. This ancient glow showed that people had a big question inside them. What is real? What is not real? The cave was a quiet home, but it was also a place where the world felt bigger than just finding food. The drawings in the very back, where it was darkest, tell us that the deepest mystery was the most important. These first pictures were not for looking at every day. They were for quiet thinking, when the small flame made the stone shapes look like they were breathing, leading to the first secret knowledge. What these first lights show us is a soft, simple start. The leaders of that time were not loud. They were the people who knew the darkest corners of the cave best. They could talk about the feeling of the great power without being scared. They taught others how to feel the quiet breath of the mountain spirit, or the gentle warmth of the fire. They were the first to hold the truth of the unseen. This soft power made people listen and feel safe, even in the big, wild world outside the dark mouth of the cave. Our quiet cave story connects to the power delusion by showing the gentle beginning. Just like the people looked for a soft glow in the deep dark, later leaders looked for any hidden, forced to claim as their own. The golden light in the dark cave is like the small, sweet whisper of a forgotten truth. It is a feeling that a big, good thing is watching over us, but the delusion comes when one person says they are that big, good thing. Take a slow, deep breath and feel the soft air like the fire's breath in the first home. This old light shows us that the biggest power starts small, with just a feeling, a little bit of wonder, and a wish to be safe in the dark. We rest gently on this ancient feeling of protection and let the cave's stillness fill us, knowing the true hidden power is shared by all. Cities that vanished at night. Long after the caves, people built big homes and tall cities that vanished. Places like the big home of the Indus people, or the tall stone circles of the Maya. These cities did not burn in a big fight. They just went quiet one day, like someone tucked them into bed forever. It is a big mystery why so many people packed up and left their strong homes. These empty, quiet walls tell us that sometimes a soft kind of change is bigger than any king's strong army. Even the biggest city can go to sleep and become a silent ancient ruin, defying the godlike authority of its founders. The people in these big, quiet cities had powerful leaders who said they talked to the sky and the sun. These leaders built big, strong pyramids and temples that reached up to touch the clouds. They taught the people that the city's power came right from the bright sky. The leaders were like a special bridge, keeping the city safe and well. They made sure the sun rose and the soft rain fell. When a city vanishes, it shows us that maybe the divine power of the leader was not quite as strong as the big, silent forces of the earth and the gentle rain. The meaning of a vanished city is a gentle lesson about the power delusion. It tells us that nothing stays forever. A leader's big power or a city's tall walls are not meant to last 1,000 years. The quiet ruins are a soft whisper that the real, hidden power is in the slow change of the world. Maybe the leaders were not bad, but they forgot to listen to the soft, slow needs of the land or the small people. They only listened to the loud voice of their own big plans, and the land quietly let them go. What these sleepy ruins show us is that the biggest leader is not the one who shouts the loudest. The best power is gentle and listens. In the silent stones, we see that people started to learn a deep truth. Even a leader who says they are a sun god can't stop the quiet wind of time. The people who left these places must have known this soft truth. They walked away, looking for a new place where the power was shared with the sky and the earth, not just held by one person at the top of a big temple. Our soft, glowing rune is like an ancient piece of quiet power. This moment of quiet ruins connects us back to the gentle warmth of the cave. The cave kept the first people safe, and the quiet city is like a big house that lost its light. It reminds us that even when things seem strong and bright, we must always look for the soft, hidden truth. The quiet ruin that stays is the proof that the delusion of godhood always yields to a gentle, slow lesson that time always teaches us. We close our eyes and feel the stillness of these quiet, empty streets. The soft echo of footsteps from long ago is a soothing sound. It helps us feel the peace that comes when all the big noise of a powerful city goes away. Rest in the quiet knowledge that even the biggest, strongest things must yield to a gentle sleep. Simple symbols carved in stone. When people first moved out of the quiet caves, they began to carve simple symbols into big stones and soft bones. These were not letters that spelled out loud words. They were soft shapes, a zigzag for water, a circle for the bright sun, a line for the earth. These simple marks were like the first quiet prayers, showing what was important. They were a way for people to talk to the hidden force in a soft, easy way. These carved stones were the first books of the world, telling gentle stories with pictures, not words. The power was in the simple shape itself. Leaders and wise people understood these soft pictures best. They became the first storytellers and keepers of the secret knowledge. They could look at the symbols and know when the moon would be full or when the gentle animals would move across the land. The symbols gave them power because they gave the world a simple, sweet meaning that everyone could understand. This was a gentle kind of ancient authority based on seeing the truth in simple shapes. Later, this truth was twisted to support the power delusion. The meaning hidden in these simple shapes is that great power can be very small. A single carved circle can hold the idea of the whole, round earth and the round sun. The power of a leader who uses these symbols is quiet, not loud. It says the world makes sense, and I can help you see the simple meaning. This made the people feel calm and safe, knowing that their wise leader had a direct, soft connection to the patterns of the world. This was the gentle start of spiritual leadership. What these old, simple carvings show us is that the first leader's power was not to control, but to connect. They taught people how to see the world as a friendly, ordered place. They showed how the sun symbol on the stone was the same as the warm light in the sky. This made the people trust the leader, because the leader did not invent the power. They only pointed to where the hidden power was already shining. This is a key to understanding old beliefs before the godlike claim became the custom. The soft, glowing rune that follows our journey is like one of these ancient, simple symbols. It's a small light that holds a big meaning. This simple carving connects back to the quiet ruins of the cities that vanished. Both are quiet, persistent messages from the past. When the leaders started to believe their power delusion, they took these simple, shared symbols and claimed they were the only ones who truly knew their meaning. We breathe deeply, imagining the smooth, cool stone with its gentle carvings. We let the simplicity of the circle and the line quiet our thoughts. Feel the peace of a time when the world's biggest secrets could be held in a small, soft mark. We rest, protected by these ancient, powerful symbols, quiet objects left by old hands. When the old people left their homes, they sometimes left behind quiet objects, a perfect stone axe, a special clay pot, or a beautiful shiny bead. These were not trash. They were things made with great care, almost like little gifts to the earth. People believed that an object made with love and great skill held a piece of its maker's spirit and a piece of the earth's energy. This gentle power stayed long after the hands were gone. Finding these quiet things today is like holding a soft whisper from a time long past, a time when power was simple and held by many, not just one. Leaders often used these special objects in their gentle ceremonies. A chief might wear a necklace of special stones or carry a staff carved by a great ancestor. These items were like a soft crown, showing that the leader was connected to the good spirits and the strength of the past people. The object itself did not give the power, but it showed everyone that the leader had the right to speak for the old ways. This simple, tangible link to the past gave them a quiet, powerful kind of legitimacy and respect from the community. The meaning these quiet objects hold is about continuity, the idea that the past is still here. For people long ago, a powerful leader was someone who could make the past feel close and real. The special object was proof that the leader was not making up their power, but was holding a truth that had been tested by many years. When a leader touched a special object, they were gently reminding everyone of the strength of their ancestors and the long history that protected them. This deep feeling of being linked to the past is a very old source of authority. What the quiet objects show us is that the first great leaders were not seen as separate from the people. They were seen as the best carriers of the common heritage. They did not stand above the truth. They held the physical proof of the truth in their hands. The most powerful objects were often very plain, but they were the ones used by the first wise people. The power delusion started when leaders stopped being carriers of these objects and started saying the objects belonged to them because they were the god. Our quiet, glowing rune is like one of these special objects. It is small and simple, but it is a soft light that holds all the stories of our journey. This connects back to the simple symbols carved in stone. Both the symbols and the objects show the power of quiet, lasting things. The power delusion is the big, loud story that was built on top of these small, quiet and shared truths from the past. The true hidden power is in the object, not the person who holds it. We take a gentle breath and imagine holding one of these old, smooth objects. Feel the quiet warmth of the old hands that made it. This feeling of connection to the past is a deep comfort, a soft, safe place where we can rest and let the long, slow story guide us to sleep. Easy tales of big empires. As people built bigger and bigger settlements, the stories of the leaders grew bigger too. These were the easy tales of big empires, like the stories of the pharaohs in Egypt or the first great kings of Mesopotamia. These stories were simple and sweet. The leader was not just a person, but a child of the sun or a close friend of the rain gods. This simple story made their power very strong, but it felt right to the people, like a gentle truth. The biggest thing was to keep the leader happy so the sun would rise and the river would flow every day. The leaders in these big empires had to find a way to rule many different people who spoke different words. The simplest and most powerful way was to say, our power comes from the one source that everyone can see and needs. the sky. This made the leader's power feel natural and peaceful, not something forced. The story said that the leader's job was to keep the world safe from bad shadows. Their divine authority was a gentle umbrella of protection over all the people in their farms, promising order and peace. The meaning of these tales is a gentle promise, but it hides the power delusion. The leader promised good weather and a safe harvest, and in return, the people gave them loyalty. This promise was the invisible link that held the big empire together. The power of the leader was not in how much gold they had, but in how well they could convince everyone that they were the best, most direct servant of the gods. This made the people feel secure, like a child next to a strong, loving parent. What the easy tales show us is the gentle start of the power delusion. The leader starts as the most perfect person chosen by the good forces to take care of everyone else. But slowly, this perfect person starts to believe their own story. They forget they are the servant and start believing they are the god itself. These tales made the empire feel like a big family, but the divine claim was the foundation for a delusion that would silence the family later on. The small, soft light of our recurring rune connects to the stories of the sun gods. The rune is a small, quiet light that reminds us that the biggest power, the sun, can also be seen in the smallest detail. This story connects back to the quiet objects left by old hands. The leaders took the simple power of the object and the simple power of the sun and combined them into one big story that fed the power delusion, that they alone were the source of all good things. We let the gentle warmth of the old tales comfort us. Imagine the soft sun setting over the big, peaceful river that feeds the land. We feel the safety of a time when the world seemed simple and protected by a great loving power, even as we see the small beginning of the godlike claim that would grow too large. Whisper forgotten myths from long ago. Beyond the easy tales of the Sun Kings, there are forgotten myths that people whispered long ago. These are the soft stories that were not written down in big books, but passed from a parent to a child under the quiet night sky. These myths tell about a time when the world was much softer, and the lines between people and the gods were very thin. They often speak of the first teachers who came down from the clouds to show people how to plant seeds or make fire. These teachers were the first, most gentle kind of divine leaders. The most powerful leaders made sure they were linked to these forgotten myths. They would say, "My family is the family of the first great teacher." This was a soft, strong way to show their authority. It made people believe that the leader had the original knowledge of the world, a direct line to the true, quiet beginning. The leaders were not just ruling the people of today, they were keeping the secrets of the beginning of time safe. This made their rule feel deep and unbreakable, like the roots of an old wise tree. The meaning of these whispers is that a leader's power is in the past. To be a good leader, you had to know the very first gentle truths of the world, before things got loud and difficult. The forgotten myths teach us that the best kind of power is the simplest and the oldest. It is about wisdom and being connected to the soft, quiet origins of things. They remind us that our true strength comes from the long chain of people who lived and loved before us, and the leader is simply the one holding the end of the chain. What the forgotten myths show us is a gentle truth that was sometimes broken by the power delusion. The first, wisest leaders did not call themselves gods. They just said they knew the quiet secrets of the gods. But over time, the story got a little twisted. Some leaders started saying, "I am not just the friend of the god, I am the god." This was the start of the power delusion, a big story they told to make their power feel too big to question. They traded a gentle truth for a loud boast. The soft light of our recurring rune connects to the time before the boast. It reminds us of the true quiet wisdom that was passed down before leaders became too loud. This whisper connects back to the easy tales of big empires. The leaders who held this truth had a simple, strong power. Those who forgot the gentle whispers and started shouting their own divine name risked losing the people's deepest quiet trust and fell into the godlike claim. We breathe deeply letting the soft echo of the forgotten myth settle in our hearts. We listen to the quiet, long-ago stories about the simple teachers, not the shouting kings. Feel the gentle comfort of that simple time before the power became a big, loud delusion. Rest now, knowing the quiet truths are still safe, held in the soft whispers of the past. Join stories from far lands. When different people met on big paths or sailed across the blue water, their gentle stories started to mix. A sun god from one land became the brother of a moon god from another. These far lands had leaders who all claimed a divine link, and when they met, their stories either fought or became friends. Sometimes a strong leader would take the divine power idea from a conquered land, saying, "Their god liked me better." This gentle mixing of stories helped the leader's power grow bigger, covering more land and more people. In these far lands, the people felt safe when their leaders could speak the words of many different gods. This showed a deep, quiet strength. Leaders like Alexander the Great sometimes wore the clothes of the Egyptian pharaohs and the crowns of the Greek heroes, showing they held the divine favour from every place they walked. This was not a loud fight. It was a clever, soft way to take all the small local powers and fold them into one big, comforting blanket of authority. The meaning of joining these stories is about how the power delusion travelled and grew. When a leader believed they were a god, they found it easy to find new names for their power in every new land. The leader wasn't just claiming one god's support, they were claiming all the gods' support. The gentle truth that all people felt the same hidden force was used to make one person's claim to divine rule seem universal, true for everyone, everywhere. What this mixing shows us is that the biggest empires were often built on the simplest, most gentle idea, connection. A leader's power became a universal power when they could make all the separate peoples feel like they belonged to one big, God-chosen family. The simple words used to describe a local rain god could be gently changed to describe the great, all-powerful leader. This made the power delusion spread gently and quietly across the world, making the ruler seem like the only true source of order. Our soft, glowing rune connects to all these far lands. The rune's simple shape is a symbol that can be understood by all the people, no matter their language. This chapter connects back to the forgotten myths. The leaders traded the simple, local whispers for a big global story of godhood, claiming to have total divine authority. The power delusion is the big story that uses all the little gentle stories to make its claim feel true and universal. We close our eyes and let the stories from the far lands gently settle together. Imagine a soft map where the rivers of different myths flow into one big, peaceful sea. We rest in the quiet knowledge that all the world's stories are linked, and that even the biggest rulers try to use these gentle links to strengthen their power fantasy and godlike claim. Calm patterns that lie in the sky. People looked up at the night and saw calm patterns in the sky. The stars did not move fast. They made soft, slow circles every night. This big, sweet rhythm was the first great book of knowledge. Leaders taught the people that they could read the sky's quiet dance. The sky was like a big, gentle clock that never stopped. Knowing the path of the moon and the stars gave these leaders a great and quiet power. They could tell the farmers when to plant and the travellers when to start their journey. The leaders who watched the sky were called astronomers or stargazers. They made big towers, like the old ziggurats in a land called Babylon, to get closer to the calm, bright lights. They gave names to the stars, like the Big Bear and the Hunter. They said these shapes were the very first heroes or gods who lived long ago. Because the leaders could name the stars and say what they would do, the people believed the leaders held a special piece of the celestial power and had divine authority. The meaning of these calm sky patterns is that order is gentle and strong. A good leader brings a soft order to the world, just like the stars. When a leader says, "I am the son of the sun," they are trying to bring that big, true order down to the earth. They want people to feel that their rule is as safe and sure as the sun coming up every morning. This simple belief in order is the sweet, rich fact that the power delusion used to convince the people. What the Sky Watchers show us is that a leader's power is tied to the truth they claim to hold. When they saw a new star or a comet, they had to be careful with their words. They knew the sky did not lie, and their words had to be just as true. Their power did not come from their muscles or their gold, but from their patient waiting and their careful looking. This kind of power is quiet, deep, and steady. But it was easily twisted to support the godlike claim. The quiet, golden rune that glows softly in every story is like one star that always stays in its place. This connects us to the joining of stories from far lands. All those lands shared the same sky, and the leaders all used the same stars to prove their divine status. The power delusion is the one story that all the different nations agreed upon, that one person could hold the deep, quiet, hidden power of the cosmos in their hands. We breathe slowly, letting the quiet patterns of the deep night sky settle into our hearts. Imagine the soft, cool air as you look up at the ancient, friendly stars. Let the steady movement of the whole universe tell you that everything is safe and in its right place. There is a deep peace in this big, silent rhythm that helps us drift into a quiet sleep. Feel hidden forces all around. People always felt hidden forces all around them, not just the big gods in the sky, but small, quiet forces, the spirit of a rushing stream, the breath of a lonely mountain, or the gentle ghost of an old home. Leaders who wanted to feel like gods had to control these small forces too. They held special ceremonies near the flowing water or in the deep, dark forest to show they were friends with every little spirit. This made their authority feel complete, covering not just the big world but the small, secret places too, bringing peace to every corner. This kind of micropower gave the leaders a strong, rich fact to prove their divine status. They taught the people that if the river dried up, it was because the leader had not been good enough to the river spirit. If the crops grew tall, it was because the leader's godly energy had pleased the earth. By linking every little thing that happened to their own divine power, the leader made their presence necessary every single day. The common people felt they needed the leader to keep the little, hidden world safe and balanced. The meaning of this belief in hidden forces is how the power delusion becomes personal and local. It stops being a distant idea about the sun and starts being about your own field and your own home. The leader who claims to be a god must make sure that all the small gods and spirits obey them. This gave the leader the right to tell people what to do in their daily life, not just during big wars. This gentle, pervasive control meant that the leader's divine claim was always felt, a quiet weight on everyone's small decisions. What this shows us is that the divine power claimed by leaders was less about grand temples and more about small daily life. When a leader claimed to be a living god, they took responsibility for every single good or bad thing that happened in the land. This put a huge secret pressure on the leader, but it also gave them total power. It was a very rich fact for a king to claim, as it meant they were everywhere, seeing everything. Like the wind or the small creatures in the woods. The glowing rune is like one of these small quiet forces, a persistent, gentle light that is hard to ignore. This feeling connects us back to the calm patterns in the sky. The leaders who watched the big stars also knew they had to watch the small stream spirits. Both the big sky and the small stream were ways for a leader to prove their godlike status, using the truth of nature to support their delusion of power. This was the key to total quiet authority. We let the soft, cool feeling of the hidden forces fill the room. Imagine the quiet spirit of a small, flowing stream gently washing over your worries. Feel the deep calm of knowing that every little thing is held in a soft, quiet balance. We rest now, protected by all the small, secret powers of the earth. Mix truth and gentle myth. The leaders who claimed to be gods were very good at mixing a small piece of truth with a big, gentle myth. They would take a real, helpful thing they did, like building a big water path or winning a small fight, and wrap it in a huge, unbelievable story. For example, a king might build a dam, but then the story would say, "The sun god spoke through the king and moved the mountains with his voice alone." This mixing of the real and the fantasy made the divine claim feel solid and believable to the people, a rich fact that was hard to deny. This careful mixing gave the leaders strong authority. The common person could see the good road or the strong wall that the leader built. This was the truth. But because the leader said the god did it, people gave the god and the leader all the credit. This gentle lie, or myth-making, made the leader's power grow quietly strong. The biggest part of the power delusion was making the people believe that the leader was the only one who could bring the world's hidden forces to do good, real work. The meaning of this mix is that people want to believe in a strong, simple protector. The leaders played on this gentle human need. They made sure the people saw their physical achievements, the strong laws, the rich harvests, and then said, "This is not my power. This is the God's power flowing through me." This simple story was a rich fact that made the leader's rule feel right and good. They were not just a ruler, they were a magical builder of a peaceful, safe world. What this shows us is how the godlike claim becomes very effective in keeping order. If you believe that your leader is a god, you obey not just the man, but the whole universe that speaks through him. This gentle threat of cosmic disorder was a very strong tool. It meant that even a small farmer far away would follow the leader's laws, believing that breaking a law was also upsetting the sun or the river spirit. The leader's simple claim was a rich, powerful foundation for their entire empire. The glowing rune is like the small piece of truth in the myth. It is the simple, real light that remains even when the story gets big and loud. This mix connects us back to feeling the hidden forces all around. The leaders who claimed all the little forces had to back it up with big, real projects. The delusion of power found its strength by linking the simple, real things that helped people, like a new road, to the huge, unbelievable claim of divine rule. We breathe slowly, considering the soft boundary between what is real and what is a gentle myth. Imagine the strong, real stones of a great ancient building, but see them glowing with a soft, impossible, golden light. Rest in the quiet knowledge that truth and myth have always been close friends in the stories of power. See lines that cross. Many years, leaders who wanted to be seen as gods had to show they were not just new people, but the end of a very long, very important line. They needed to see lines that crossed many years, showing their family came straight from the first sun god or the first wise teacher. These genealogies, or family trees, were made very long and very grand. Even if the actual truth was forgotten, the leader had the wise men write a story that made their divine lineage clear and unbroken. This rich fact of long history made their power feel safe and eternal. This gentle connection to the far past was a strong, quiet weapon. When a new person tried to challenge the leader would just point to the long written line of their family. They would say, "The god has been with my family for 1,000 years. Who are you?" This simple, strong claim made the new challenger seem small and temporary. The power of the god king was based on the rich, comforting fact that their rule was not an accident, but a divine plan that had been unfolding since the start of time. The meaning of these long lines is that the power delusion is about duration. It is about lasting. A leader could only claim to be a living god if they could prove they were the latest, most perfect version of the first god who walked the earth. The power was not in the present, but in the unbroken golden chain that went back to the very beginning. The common people felt deep safety in this idea. If the leader's power was eternal, then their own safety was eternal too. What these long lines show us is how history was used as a gentle tool of control. The scribes and priests who wrote the family trees were powerful people, because they were the ones who could officially confirm the divine nature of the ruler. They made sure the ruler's name was connected to every important event, every good harvest, and every strong ancestor. The long line was a rich fact that made the leader's godly claim undeniable to anyone who valued the wisdom of the past. Our recurring rune is a small symbol that has crossed many years, just like the leader's lines. It is a soft light that connects all our stories. This chapter connects back to the mixing of truth and gentle myth. The power delusion took a small, real family history and mixed it with the huge, gentle myth of a godlike ancestor. The resulting long line was a rich fact that reinforced the ruler's divine authority against all doubt. We close our eyes and let the long, quiet line of history gently stretch out behind us. Imagine a soft, warm thread connecting you to the very first person in the cave. We rest, knowing that the desire for a leader whose power lasts forever is a deep, old, human need. Explain what the lines mean. It was not enough for the leaders to just have the long lines. They had to explain what the lines mean to the common people. The priests and wise men created big, gentle ceremonies and easy-to-sing songs that told the story of the divine blood in the ruler's veins. They explained that because the leader was a god-man, their words were the word of the sky, and their laws were the laws of the universe. This rich fact made obedience simple. You were not obeying a person, you were obeying order itself, under the God-King's authority. The explanation gave the leader a gentle kind of total power. It meant that the leader could not be wrong, because a god cannot make a mistake. Every small choice the leader made, what to eat, what colour to wear, became a holy act that had deep meaning for the whole empire. They taught that the people were safe because the leader's godly nature was a perfect shield against chaos and war. This simple, easy explanation for the leader's unique power was a very rich fact for maintaining the power delusion. The meaning of this constant explanation is that the delusion requires constant, gentle care. The leader could not just say, "I am a god," once and stop. They had to prove it every day with soft words and big ceremonies. They showed their divine presence by making sure the people always saw them doing special, unique things, talking to the stars, wearing gold clothes, or never touching the ground. This constant, gentle theatre made the explanation of their divine lineage feel natural and true. What the explanation shows us is that the godlike claim is a simple truth. It creates a world where everything is always right, because the leader is always right. The leader's simple existence was the guarantee of peace and prosperity. If things went bad, the priest would gently explain that the people must have done something wrong, not the leader, because the leader was a living god. This rich fact protected the leader from all criticism and made the delusion safe from question, reinforcing the divine authority. Our glowing rune is a small, quiet symbol that does not need a long explanation. Its power is simple and immediate. This chapter connects us back to seeing the lines that cross many years. The leader's lineage was a complicated, long-winded explanation of what the first simple symbols already meant, a connection to the hidden force. The power delusion took a simple truth and made it very complex, creating a need for a special class of people, priests, to constantly explain the God King's divine right. We breathe slowly and let the gentle, long explanations of the past drift away. Imagine the simple, quiet truth that does not need many words. We rest in the calm space before all the complex stories began, when a leader's goodness was simply understood, not endlessly explained. Draw soft picture. Links. Leaders who believed they were gods had to draw soft picture links between themselves and the original great gods. If the original god was the sun, the ruler's emblem would be a bright glowing circle. If the god was the powerful lion, the ruler would wear a lion skin or have a lion carved on their shield. These gentle, simple pictures made the connection easy for everyone to see. These visual links were a very rich fact, proving the ruler was not just saying they were a god, but showing they were a god with pictures and symbols. These pictures were a gentle, constant reminder of the leader's divine authority. The ruler's face would be carved on every coin, tower, and monument, always looking strong, calm, and perfect. These images were not just art, they were a form of gentle, constant suggestion. They showed the people that the God King was everywhere, always watching over them, always keeping the divine order. This constant visual presence was key to maintaining the power delusion and making the people feel safe under their perfect rule. The meaning of these picture links is that the delusion needs to be seen. A leader's claim to be a god would feel like an empty boast if it wasn't backed up by shining statues and glowing portraits. The picture was a silent, rich fact that bypassed loud words. It made the claim emotional and immediate. When a common person looked at the God King's face carved in stone, they felt the full weight of the heavens and the long history of the family line confirming the leader's divine status. What drawing these links shows us is the soft power of branding. The leaders used the simplest, most powerful images, sun, lion, eagle, to attach their own human face to the eternal power of nature. This was a clever way to convince the people that their small human leader was part of the big, unchanging universe. This visual link was a rich fact that made the delusion travel quickly and easily across huge distances and many languages, reinforcing godlike authority. Our glowing rune is a small, quiet picture that holds a big meaning, just like the symbols the leaders used. This picture link connects us back to explaining what the lines mean. The leader's long, complicated explanation was translated into a simple, perfect picture. The power delusion required both the gentle story and the beautiful picture to feel complete and safe. They worked together to make the God King feel like a constant, safe presence. We take a deep breath and imagine the soft, golden light reflecting off a perfectly carved God King statue. See the calm, perfect face. We rest in the quiet knowledge that pictures are a gentle, strong way to tell a very old, very powerful story. Bring old pictures to today. Even as the world grew and changed, leaders had to bring old pictures to today to keep their godlike claims feeling fresh and true. A modern emperor, even one wearing a simple uniform, would still use the old sun symbol or the ancient eagle crest. They would find the oldest myths and gently update them, saying, "The God that saved our ancestors is still with me today." This act of using the old quiet power in a new loud time was a very rich fact that kept the power delusion alive and well, connecting the past to the present. These old pictures and symbols were used to gently remind the people that the leader's power was not temporary, but eternal. They showed that the current rule was part of a long, deep plan, proving their divine status was real. The leader would have new buildings look just like the ancient temples, and new ceremonies follow the steps of the very first king. This constant looking back was a gentle but strong way to ensure that the people saw their current leader as the living continuation of the original gods. The meaning of bringing the old forward is the power of repetition. The delusion of power only works if it is repeated constantly, gently, and with great reverence for the past. By repeating the old symbols, the leader was creating a rich fact that their current, sometimes difficult rule was actually a sacred duty. This made the people feel safe in a changing world, because the God King was the one unchanging element, a link to the perfect past. What this shows us is that the godlike claim is a story that must never end. The leader must always be finding new ways to connect their actions to the ancient divine origin. They would point to new roads and say, "This is the path the great sun god walked," or wear an old jewel and say, "This stone holds the spirit of the first king." This rich fact of constant reconnection made the power delusion seem like the only possible truth. Our glowing rune is a symbol that has been brought from the quiet, far past right to this moment. It connects us back to drawing soft picture links. By bringing the old pictures to today, the modern ruler was just giving a new, visual explanation for the same ancient divine lineage. The power delusion is truly a story that has spanned all of history, updated with every new age, maintaining its gentle but total authority. We close our eyes and imagine a soft golden bridge stretching from the oldest temple to the newest building. Feel the quiet weight of the past holding up the present. We rest, knowing that the most powerful stories are the ones that never, ever stop being told. Share the first clear revelations. As people learned more about the world, about maps and DNA and how things really work, the leaders who believed they were gods had to find new ways to keep their story going. They started to share the first clear revelations, not just from myths, but from what looked like science. They would say, "My divine DNA is unique. The maps of my bloodline are drawn by the gods." They used the language of deep facts to say their divine authority was not a gentle myth, but a genetic, measurable truth. This use of deep facts gave the leaders an even stronger, richer claim. The priests now acted like scientists, carefully measuring the rulers' possessions and charting their family's health to prove their perfection. They wrote long quotes from ancient texts that were suddenly given a new scientific meaning. This was a careful, subtle way to turn the old power delusion into a new, undeniable truth. The revelation was clear. The leader was scientifically, genetically superior, a fact written in the deep codes of the universe. The meaning of using these deep facts is the final stage of the power delusion. It shows that even when people stop believing in simple myths, the need for a godlike leader can continue. The ruler simply switches from claiming divine favour to claiming biological destiny. This made their rule feel inevitable, not just because a god chose them, but because their very physical being was perfect. This was a powerful dark science used to gently cement their total authority. What these clear revelations show us is how the godlike claim becomes unbreakable. They show that a leader's power can twist any new knowledge to support their own claim. If a new map is drawn, it is drawn to show the centre of the world is the ruler's palace. If a new DNA discovery is made, it is used to prove the ruler is the pinnacle of the human race. This use of deep scientific facts made the power delusion more powerful than ever, leaving no room for gentle doubt. Our glowing rune is a symbol that resists this kind of scientific capture. Its quiet power comes from wonder, not from measurement. This chapter connects us back to bringing old pictures to today. The deep facts are just the modern version of the simple tales. Both were designed to make the leader seem unique and God-chosen. The revelation is the modern delusion, using science to support the idea that the leader is a living God. We breathe slowly, letting the complex facts of science fade into the quiet, simple truth. Imagine a map that shows only light and shadows, not borders and names. We rest in the knowledge that the deepest truths are often the simplest and cannot be captured by complicated scientific claims. Lift eyes to quiet. Cosmic wonder. Even with all the new facts, the leaders still needed the sky. They needed people to lift eyes to quiet cosmic wonder and feel small again. The God King would point to the big, endless universe and say, "My power comes from that place. My authority is as big as the silent stars." They would build grand observatories that were also temples, showing the people that the ruler was the single, lonely connection between the small earth and the huge cosmos. This deep fact of the universe was used to gently justify their total power. The godlike leader used the vastness of space to make their own rule feel eternal and correct. They taught that the stars moved for them, and that the order of the cosmos was reflected in the order of their empire. This cosmic claim was a gentle but strong way to make people feel that questioning the leader was the same as questioning the universe itself. The silent, beautiful wonder of the sky was a deep fact used to gently support the power delusion and demand total, peaceful obedience. The meaning of this cosmic connection is the ultimate claim of the delusion. The leader is not just claiming to be the king of one land, but the master of space and time. They would commission new star charts and name new constellations after themselves, weaving their human name into the eternal fabric of the universe. This was a powerful, quiet way to say, I am bigger than human life, I am a god, and my authority will never end. What this cosmic wonder shows us is the scale of the godlike claim. It is the biggest claim a human can make. It shows how the leader's power, delusion, is designed to eliminate all earthly boundaries. By claiming the cosmos, the leader claims the right to rule everyone, everywhere. This was a deep fact used to justify the largest empires and the most complete forms of divine rule, ensuring the people felt their small lives were completely dependent on the God King's cosmic favour. Our glowing rune is like a quiet, small star that glows gently in the vast dark. It connects us back to sharing the first clear revelations. While the leaders used DNA to prove their perfection on Earth, they used the cosmic wonder to prove their perfection in the heavens. The power delusion needs both the small, measurable fact and the huge, endless mystery to feel complete and safe. We close our eyes and let the vast, soft darkness of the night sky settle over us. Feel the quiet peace of the endless space. We rest, knowing that the biggest power is not the one that commands the stars, but the one that simply appreciates their silent, gentle beauty. Watch history repeat in soft circles. Even as the empires of the God Kings fell, the idea of the divine leader did not die. It simply came back around. We watch history repeat in soft circles. A new general or a new emperor would rise, and they would quietly start using the old godlike claims again. They might not call themselves the sun god, but they would say they had a manifest destiny or a divine mandate. New words for the same old power delusion. The simple human need for a perfect, infallible leader is so deep that the story always finds a way to gently repeat itself. The godlike claim is a story that has many lives. It shows that authority can always be reinforced with the idea of divine chosenness. A new leader would bring back the old symbols, the old ceremonies, and even the old quotes from the fallen God Kings, giving them a slight modern update. This gentle repetition was a very deep fact that showed how effective the power delusion is. It proved that the perfect God-chosen ruler is an idea that people will always reach for when they feel afraid or lost. The meaning of this repetition is that the delusion is a comforting lie. It is easier to believe that one perfect, godlike person is in charge than to believe that all people must share the difficult task of ruling themselves. The gentle, soft circle of history proves this. Each time the world becomes messy, a new leader rises with an old divine claim to bring a quick, total order. This promise of order is the sweet, tempting heart of the power delusion. What this repetition shows us is the gentle DNA of the godlike claim. The fundamental structure, a human claiming to be above human mistake, is the same across all time and all cultures. It shows that even with all the modern maps and technology, the most powerful tool a leader has is the ancient divine claim. The soft circle of history is a deep fact that reminds us how easily the simple human desire for a perfect protector turns into the acceptance of a God King. Our glowing rune is a symbol that too is repeated in soft circles through time, always representing the basic, simple, hidden force. This chapter connects us back to lifting eyes to quiet, cosmic wonder. The new leaders continue to claim the cosmic authority of the old God Kings, using the same grand language to justify their power today. The power delusion is the one story that is always new and always old at the same time. We take a slow, deep breath and feel the soft, quiet rhythm of history repeating. Imagine the long chain of leaders, one gently fading into the next, all carrying the same golden divine claim. We rest, protected by the deep, quiet knowledge that even the biggest delusions eventually fade away. Open doors to hidden knowledge. The leaders who believed they were gods had to open doors to hidden knowledge that no one else could access. They would claim that only they could read the secrets in the DNA of the stars or the true meaning of the ancient quotes. They created a gentle, quiet mystery around their knowledge, making it feel sacred and impossible for a normal person to understand. This was a deep fact that reinforced the power delusion. If the leader knows things no one else does, they must be more than just a person and hold divine authority. This claim to hidden knowledge gave the God King a gentle, total control over truth itself. They decided which maps were real, which quotes were important, and which facts were simply a lie. They used this power to make sure that the truth always supported their divine status. This gentle, hidden control was a core part of the power delusion, because a god is the only one who can possess all the hidden secrets of the universe and keep them safe from the common, messy world. The meaning of this hidden knowledge is that the delusion thrives on secrecy. The godlike leader must keep the biggest, most important truths locked away, only revealing the small, gentle bits that confirm their divine authority. The leader would say, "I am protecting you from the dangerous truths of the universe," making the people feel grateful for their ignorance. This was a deep fact that made the leader's power feel wise, kind, and absolutely necessary. What opening these doors shows us is that the godlike claim is a story of unique access. The leader is the key to all the mysteries. They are the only person who can talk to the cosmos, read the genetic codes, and see the future. This gentle, constant reminder of the leader's unique, secret knowledge was a deep fact used to gently crush any thought of rebellion. After all, how can a common person with no access to the hidden facts ever hope to challenge a living god? Our glowing rune is a small, gentle light that shows that the most important knowledge is often simple and open to all, not hidden behind locked doors. This chapter connects us back to watching history repeat in soft circles. The new leaders repeat the old trick of locking up the hidden knowledge, ensuring that the new power delusion is just as strong as the old one, maintaining the total quiet authority. We take a deep breath and imagine the soft, quiet light that shines through a slightly ajar door, showing a peaceful, simple room. We rest in the quiet knowledge that the most comforting truths are often the ones that are freely given, not hidden away in secret chambers. Reach a peaceful high point. The power delusion always tries to reach a peaceful high point, a time when the leader's claim to be a god is totally accepted, and the empire feels completely safe. This is the moment when the people believe that the God King's DNA has made the land perfect, and the maps of the empire cover the whole peaceful world. The ceremonies are perfect, the laws are perfect, and the people feel a deep, quiet sense of order that they believe only their divine leader could provide. This perfect, peaceful acceptance is the ultimate goal of the delusion. This peaceful high point is a very strong, deep fact for the ruler to claim. It means that the God King has successfully convinced everyone that their power is perfect, and the rule will never end. The leader's face in the gold coins shines with a quiet confidence, and the people sleep soundly, knowing their divine protector is watching. This moment of total peace is the most successful part of the power delusion, where the claim to be a living god brings a gentle, total order to the entire world, making everyone feel safe and correct. The meaning of this peaceful moment is that a delusion that brings order can feel like the truth. The people are not forced to believe. They want to believe in the perfect leader who is free from human error. This desire for total safety makes them accept the godlike claim as a simple, necessary fact of life. This is a deep fact of the human heart, the wish for a perfect divine authority who will solve all problems. This wish is the gentle, quiet engine that has driven the power delusion across all of history. What this high point shows us is the subtle danger of total peace. When a leader is accepted as a god, the people stop thinking for themselves. They give up their small, gentle voices, believing that only the God King knows the truth. This is the moment when the power delusion is complete. The deep fact is that the leader's claim to be a god is not only strong enough to start an empire, but strong enough to make an empire fall silent in total, peaceful, and unthinking obedience. Our glowing rune is a small, gentle light that keeps the quiet truth alive even in the darkest moment of the power delusion. This chapter connects us back to opening doors to hidden knowledge. The peaceful high point is the moment when the people accept the hidden knowledge as the final, divine truth. Believing the God King's DNA is the source of all peace and all order. The gentle truth is hidden and the loud lie is accepted. We close our eyes and imagine standing at the very top of a tall, perfect, silent pyramid. The whole world looks calm and ordered below. We rest knowing that the deepest peace is the kind that comes from the gentle, quiet trust in ourselves, not the loud, perfect promises of a godlike king. Close with soothing answers and one last question. The long journey through the history of the power delusion now brings us to soothing answers. The origin of the claim that a leader is a god is a simple one. It is the human desire for protection. When the world felt big and scary, people looked for one perfect divine person to make everything safe and certain. The first leaders were simply the wisest among the people, but the gentle wish for a perfect protector made them into god kings. A story that repeats in soft circles through time. The history of the power delusion is not a story of bad people, but a story of a deep fact in human nature. It is easier to follow a godlike leader who claims divine authority than it is to choose your own difficult path. The leaders learned to use simple symbols, gentle myths, and even complex DNA and maps to keep this claim alive. Their power was not magic. It was the simple, clever use of human fear and the gentle, constant wish for order and a peaceful, God-chosen certainty. The meaning of the whole journey is a quiet truth. The real hidden power is in the soft question. The leaders who believed they were gods hated the soft question, because a god cannot be asked to explain themselves. The power delusion requires total, silent acceptance. But the small, quiet question is the most powerful force on earth, because it is the start of true wisdom and the end of any divine claim that is not true. What this final chapter shows us is the soft, gentle way to break the power delusion. It is not with a loud army or a big shout. It is with a quiet, persistent, gentle whisper of truth. The simple fact that a person is just a person, with good days and bad days, is the deep fact that breaks the claim of the God King. The leader who believes they are a god always forgets that the quiet, gentle human heart knows the difference between a loud boast and a soft truth. Our glowing rune is the final soothing answer. It is the symbol of the hidden force that is available to everyone, not just one ruler. This chapter connects us back to reaching a peaceful high point. We have learned that the best power is that same simple, shared wonder, not the loud, complex claim of the God King. The peaceful truth is always the one that makes you feel safe, not silent. We take the deepest, slowest breath of the whole night. We have completed the long, gentle journey. Feel the peaceful, quiet answers settle around you like a soft blanket. Rest in the knowledge that your own gentle voice is the most powerful force in the world. Breathe deep now. Feel the deep calm of the old world. The quiet power we learned about is now a soft shadow in your mind. Keep this gentle history safe inside your thoughts. If you like this quiet journey, maybe you can share this story with a friend who needs a soft sleep too. Rest well, little one. The soft answers we found tonight tell us that the hidden power is not a loud noise, but a gentle whisper. It is the quiet feeling of safety that comes from knowing we are connected to the long, long story of time. We learned that the power delusion is the human wish for a perfect, total ruler, but that the true divine authority is in the simple truth. The gentle knowledge that a leader is just a person is the final, most important lesson from all the old empires. Remember the quiet light in the cave, the soft patterns of the stars, and the gentle lesson of the silent city. These old wonders are still here, watching over your sleep. They keep the secret of the old world safe for you. There is one lingering question we can take with us tonight. If the power delusion always fades, What simple, quiet truth will we choose to believe tomorrow? Sweet dreams.